Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. Some of you may remember a short while ago I posted a video about the theory that the potential that Russia could have smuggled some gold out of Venezuela's gold reserves from a Russian airliner that was seen in Caracas. Not sure if we've seen much validity to that story or not, but it is quite possible that that could be, considering what's been going on as of late in Venezuela. Well, here's a story how Turkey has warned over Venezuela's gold trade. Here from the BBC, I was sent this information from somebody in the know in precious metals, and mentions that it could have an effect on all of us here. More on that in a moment. But here we see a photo of Venezuelan Vice President El Aissami, which is located in the center of this photograph, visited Alakci gold refinery in Koram, Turkey, just last month there. The Turkish government is coming under renewed pressure to stop buying gold from Venezuela, the BBC has learned. A senior Western diplomatic source told the BBC that Turkey was now considered the main concern among other countries engaging in the trade. They added that there were growing suspicions that gold exported to Turkey was ending up in Iran, which would violate U.S. sanctions. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan backs Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, who is facing a growing political challenge. I would mark that Russia and Turkey and several other nations, very few nations, recognize Maduro as the president of Venezuela now. Venezuela's gold trade with Turkey is soaring. Last year, the country exported almost $900 million worth of gold to Turkey, ostensibly to be refined there and returned to Venezuela, although there is no record of exportation. American government officials have previously warned that some of the gold may be heading via Turkey to Iran, which would violate U.S. sanctions. The BBC has been told that Ankara has received fresh warnings about potential sanctions busting. Moreover, Turkey is now seen by Western governments as posing by far the biggest concern regarding the trade, over and above Russia and the United Arab Emirates, both of which are also reportedly receiving the gold. And I should note that the United Arab Emirates, and specifically Dubai, the largest city in that nation, is considered a city very well known for its gold trade. In fact, there's many places where you can buy gold. International Stacker has showcased it in many of his videos and live streams as of late. And Russia was the nation that was accused in the prior video that I mentioned, where a Russian airliner was seen in Caracas. And apparently some officials in Venezuela accuse the government of stealing gold from their Federal Reserve or their reserves and loading it on that plane. On Friday, U.S. Senator Marco Rubio, a member of the Foreign Relations Committee, warned the UAE and Turkey not be accomplices in the outrageous crime of shipping gold out of Venezuela. Here we see Mr. Aragon showed support for Mr. Maduro in Caracas in December. Russian and Turkish private jets appeared to have traveled to Caracas in recent days. Ankara insists its trade is in accordance with international regulations. One of the private jets spotted traveling to Caracas in recent days belonged to Siner Group, a major Turkish mining company with close ties to President Erdogan. A Venezuelan opposition MP, Jose Guerrera, claims a Russian plane belonging to the company Nordwind landed in Caracas with the aim of transporting at least 20 tons of gold out of the country. And that was a story, again, that we covered earlier. The Venezuelan government is accused by opponents of extracting gold in an illegal and environmentally damaging way, containing pits and running contaminating pits and running organized crime networks to control small miners, even with severe violence. And President Donald Trump has signed an executive order banning U.S. nationals from engaging in gold trade with Venezuela. That could be extended to third parties such as Turkey. The authorities in Ankara have been warned that they are skating on thin ice, sources told BBC. And my guess is the reason they're doing this is they want to stop any inflow of any kind of cash into or wealth transfer back into Venezuela, because gold itself is useless if you can't make it work for you. So they're basically, there's apparently some evidence and intel that the Venezuelan government is raiding its reserves and selling it to enrich themselves and their regime, because they're on their last leg, because essentially socialism, as it's in practice, as Margaret Thatcher so famously stated, only works until you run out of other people's money. Well, the last bit of everybody else's money is in those gold reserves. And so they're tapping that now, which is the last straw. As you know, and has been discussed and covered widely in the news, back when Hugo Chavez was still alive and the president, he had repatriated much of the gold. And there's still some left in the Bank of England, and it's a controversy as to whether or not the Venezuelan government, specifically the Maduro regime, should repatriate that gold, especially when most nations around the world don't even recognize Maduro as the president of Venezuela anymore. It definitely complicates the issue, because a recognized president is certainly not asking for that gold back. So how do we proceed in that manner? Political tensions between Turkey and Venezuela have flourished since 2016, with 4 visits to Turkey by Mr. Maduro, and a reciprocal one to Venezuela by President Erdogan in 2018, the first ever by a Turkish head of state. And that comes to makes some red flags there, and makes you wonder what's going on. My feeling is it's specifically over gold trade. And more than likely, intelligence services understand it and see it. It's become relatively obvious, apparently. It comes as Venezuela's oil revenue is starved by sanctions and a drop in the oil price, forcing Caracas to seek revenue from other means, namely gold. And here we see a photograph of the 777, Russia's Nordwind Airlines, photographed at Caracas Simon Bolivar Airport. Venezuela's industry minister Tarek El Asiami visited Turkish gold refinery in Korum near Ankara last month, as we saw in the picture. But they're saying that he was a vice president, not the industry minister. Maybe they serve a dual role, or they got the story wrong. But nonetheless, it is fascinating to see how this is all panning out. We will definitely keep an eye on this situation. Let's see what a scammer has to say about this, if they answer. Hello?
Hello, may I speak to Richard?
Yes, this is Richard. How you doing? May I help you?
Hello, Richard. This is a good call from Zip Capital Group. I was following up with you in regard to the business financing for your company.
Yes, we're trying to find ways, trying to gather some money here to be able to monitor and track the gold being shipped from Venezuela to Turkey for intelligence services for the government. Can you help us with that?
Is that what you're using the money for?
Yes, I need to help us. We're a federal contractor, and we need to be able to monitor and track shipments of gold and flights out of Caracas into Ankara, Turkey.
Okay. How much would you say you deposit monthly into a business bank account?
Oh, I'm probably. Well, it's been a pretty busy month with all this stuff going on in the news here lately. I haven't even talked about the Istanbul gold refinery bars yet, but I've been popping in about 80 grand a month, I would say.
Okay, and do you have any current loans out right now?
Not right now, although I might want to get another loan to get some Istanbul refinery gold bars and rounds because supply might be drying up because of sanctions.
Okay. And what is the best email address for you, sir?
It is Salivate 7 at lycos.net. We've got 1 gram gold bars available for $52 a piece. And there is 1 ounce Istanbul gold refinery bars left and a 50-gram bar bolt. So we're going to need a pretty good chunk of cash to wipe out the ATMEX supply, because it very well could be that these bars are authorized by the Turkish treasury and they may not be available for long if sanctions are squeezed and tightened up.
Okay, so I'm going to send you out some information, okay, via email.
All right. What do you think about all this stuff going on with Turkey and Venezuela?
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, what would you do if you were in a position of authority?
Oh, well, I would have to give that more thought to give you an...
Well, because we're trying to figure out how to do with our business and the like, because, you know, these are certified by the London Bullion Market Association, so it can be traded in in global markets. But at the same time, with what's going on with the geopolitical situation in Turkey, it might be troublesome, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would say that.
Now,
So
do you
let me
think
send
these
you out
bars? Do you think these bars are going to have a numismatic premium if there's something that happens with geopolitical tensions between the 3 nations involved? That's United States of America, Turkey, and Venezuela. What do you think?
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Maybe.
But let me get this.
What's your name again? What's your name again, ma'am? What's your name again, ma'am? Well, she hung up on with me when I just wanted to know her name. Anyways, so these bars here, according to the source that sent me this information, who I don't know if they want their name known or published. They do have another pseudonym that they go by, but nonetheless, some of this may have been shared in confidence. And but they are saying that some of these, there's good word that these may be dried up soon. So, not to say that I don't think these things, I was just joking around with the scammer there, but I don't think these things are going to be worth a whole lot of money unless the supply dries up for an extended period of time. But this is just bullion. But nonetheless, the supply could dry up. So, if anybody is interested, it might not be a bad time to get these if you're interested in this particular brand, or if you're collecting different refinery bars and rounds and the like. So very interesting indeed. I hope you found this video informative and useful. Post your thoughts below about what you think of this situation. I would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for watching and encourage you to please rate, comment, and subscribe.